I was like, I need this motherfucker to have a week like he did last week. I just need him to go the fuck off and just wreck everything in front of his fucking path. Yep. And first play, he touches the ball. 87 to the house. I was like, run, motherfucker, run.
Yeah, I had. You can ask. Actually, you can ask
Bro,
mom and
it was
dad.
funny because on the back end of that touchdown, you could see those years of the NFL have kicked in because on the back end of that touchdown, he was like,
yeah, he was
starting to do. You can see it in his body posture when he was running like, oh fuck, I haven't ran this far in a while.
You know, he was sounding like Shannon Sharp out there. Right. Just don't do it again. Just don't let it happen again. Ever again.
Alright, I'll get the belt to ass or what? Damn,
yeah. I'll actually.
What's up, YouTube? Welcome to another week of the Single High Podcast. We got an interesting one this week. There was quite a few quarterback changes, and there was quite a few sleepers that came out of nowhere due to those changes. There was some very big and awkward, surprising injuries. Yeah, that's going to be a fun one to talk about as well, too. Can't wait to get into the episode with you guys. Stay tuned and relax and enjoy the show. Here we go. So, big one. Like I said, awkward week. Fun week, right? Week 4 is for fun. Patrick Mahomes, all in one play, threw an interception, went and got a tackle, but in the process, took out his own number 1 wide receiver. Rashid Rice owners are in the fucking crapper still, shitting themselves because of what the fuck happened. I know I'm one of them. My ass got saved later on. We'll talk about that too as well, because he's definitely in one of my topics. But yeah, let's talk about that Rashid Rice injury. Holy crap, dude! Like, talk about fuck me, literally the whole time. Like somebody just held that button. Really, like.
Yup. No, that's a possible ACL tear, is what they're saying.
Well, right now, I don't think it's been confirmed. I think right now they're going through the MRIs right now and getting a second opinion, and then they'll probably be giving some solid word on that.
So if it is an ACL,
hopefully it
is season ending. That'd be wild, right?
Yeah, that's that. Yeah, especially week 4. I mean, yeah, that means he's
the fastest
like,
person the fastest person to ever come back from that was literally a walking, talking machine, and that was Adrian Peterson when he came back from it, like 6 months time frame, and then proceeded to run all over the fucking. I think it was the Green Bay Packers, almost breaking Dixon's record. I think it was, wasn't it?
He
Anthony
broke,
Dixon or something.
Eric Dickerson.
Eric Dickerson. There you go.
He broke. He actually broke the single season record after tearing his ACL. Like that's insane.
It was fucking insane. He made a 6-month recovery time. Literally came back.
Nick Chubb is still gonna do it this year with 8 weeks. In 8 weeks, he's gonna break the record. With 5 weeks,
Rice,
he's gonna break the record.
Adrian Peterson did it with 1.
That is insane. I know people that drafted Rashid Rice. They were seeing his output. They're like, damn, this guy's wide receiver 1. This guy's competing with Nico Collins, like for points in average fantasy aspect.
And he really was.
He was popping off. Yeah, he was popping off.
He was carrying my team a majority of the time.
Yeah, this injury just didn't need to happen, right? Patrick Mahomes didn't need to go tackle him. He didn't need to be there. You know, just
it was still a lot of football to be fucking played.
Yeah.
Good initiative, bad judgment, you fucking cocksucker.
Yeah. So I guess the only thing that happens from here is Travis Kelce now is probably de facto wide receiver 1 on that team again, right? Xavier Worthy is gonna be the long shot, but Travis Kelce is about to eat because who's the next one up? It's Watson, I believe, or unless they make a trade, there's really not someone that would be that next person unless you count Juju Smith-Schuster still as like competitive. I doubt it.
It's gonna be. I feel like what's going to happen on that other end is all the weight is going to fall on Kelce now again. So Kelce owners, you got lucky. And it did this week. He racked up, I think, 15 points, and he had like 89 yards receiving, which is not good, which is not bad. You know what I mean? The production is starting to get there again, because before it was like, he was 88 yards in the first 3 games or some shit. You know what I mean? So in one game, he saw 3 games production, so that's always a good look for fantasy owners. He unfortunately didn't have a touchdown. My boy Xavier Worthy stole all those. That's another one who saved my ass. He was able to pick up the slack that
He popped off.
Yeah. He was. Fortunately, I had him on the roster as well, so he was able to cover over the back end on Rashid Rice's touches. So
you know, trade for a wide receiver.
Do they trade for a wide receiver?
I think it would be a good move.
I feel 2 weeks are gonna go by, maybe a third. I feel like they're gonna give it this first week to find out the real results of Rashid Rice, see what the worst end of it is. After that, I think during that time process, they're gonna fucking lay into these other receivers, and they're gonna try to figure out who could be the guy to step up. Yeah. If after this week of games they don't feel comfortable by this upcoming week, the second week, they start going into the market looking for a receiver to trade for. And unfortunately, it's the fortunate side for them is it has some trade stock. They still got Clyde Edwards-Helaire, all right? And he is not a bad running back, and he could fit into a lot of other people's schemes as of right now and even take over a lot of the
I just don't know if he plays this year because he's on NFI, and I don't know if it's renewed yet. His window is coming up to where they decide whether he comes in or not.
They activate him.
They did activate him?
Yeah, okay. They activated him. Yeah. So I think they have some draft capital in there. They might have to throw in a draft pick on top of it to maybe get somebody pretty decent that can really fill in that role. I don't see them chasing like a
well, right now, one of the big names,
receiver.
One of the big names.
I feel like they're gonna chase somebody that's a veteran, of course, and can kind of bring up the younger ones, but at the same time, is good. You know what I mean? It's gonna be good because those Rashid Rice shoes are pretty fucking hard to fill.
Well, the name that's been getting thrown out there a lot, and teams have been inquiring about him already, and apparently the Titans have been kind of shopping around, but DeAndre Hopkins.
Really?
Yeah. So, but in my opinion,
Amari Cooper.
Amari Cooper would be another guy. That's another guy I would really like. I would.
Another guy
he's not doing too.
Another guy who's not too happy with his situation, and he would not mind losing a couple mils. I think to be in that situation would be Devontae Adams.
That'd be wild. I don't see that happening.
It would be wild.
I wouldn't put it past the Raiders.
But
I see it happening if the Chiefs can get the deal they want out of it.
Yeah.
I don't see them not looking into it. I do see, and I mean, anybody who needs a receiver should be looking into it.
Yeah.
Amongst other receivers that are out there as well too.
Yeah. I'm sure the Raiders will look into it too.
Yeah. See what they can get out of it.
Honest to God.
Yeah. See. Yeah.
You know, the Ravens. That's a big one, but you know who can get away with it. I'm not gonna lie to you. They can get away with it right now. The Houston Texans. Unless I don't know the whole details of that Stephon Diggs contract, but if they could flip his ass, why not? Nico Collins.
That'd be a wild scenario.
That would be. But I just don't ever see that happening.
Nico Collins has been bringing in a majority of the touches and scoring a majority of the points for them. You know what I mean? If not, then they got Mixon in there in the mix, and he's getting it done as well too on the ground.
Yeah, Mixon's injured.
Mixon's injured, but he's not going to be out for the entire season injured. He's going to be good. What I'm saying is, like, I feel like they can trade, and they can get a lot of draft capital out of it. That's the way. That's the only way I see that happening.
I think they could, but I think that'd be a terrible decision 4 weeks into the year to trade away a Stephon Diggs.
Because they still have Tank Dell, bro.
Yeah, I mean, but do you think Tank Dell's going to attract as much attention as Stephon Diggs when you're talking about like opening up your offense?
You can't say he can't because last year he attracted enough attention for Nico Collins to still do his thing as well too. And then when they didn't give him the attention, he turned around and made them pay for it.
Tank Dell is irrelevant in this system. Nico Collins has been a legit wide receiver 1 through 4 weeks.
I'm not saying Tank Dell is a wide receiver 1. I'm saying that he would where it wins for him is the attention he doesn't grab. Right. He makes them pay for it in the end, which he did last season. When Nico Collins wasn't getting the touches, they were going to Tank Dell until Collins got hurt.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Also,
no matter what, they're in a nice position where they got good enough receivers that could take away attention to keep Collins open. And if Collins gets the attention that they don't want him to get, it leaves Tank Dell wide open where they're going to make him pay on that end too.
Yeah. If I saw them moving on from anybody, I actually would think it would be Tank Dell over Stephon.
That I was going to say my other thing too. You bring up Tank Dell as well, and you know the situation with him. Tank Dell could easily go to another team and be a number 1 receiver. Shit, the Titans are smart. The Titans should honestly pursue that.
The only reason that like for me, I feel like DeAndre Hopkins kind of fits is because, and I think they're gonna kind of look at this over these next few weeks, like you were talking about. They're gonna evaluate Xavier Worthy, because again, biggest concern getting him off the line, and if you look at that division, like you've got shut down, like legit shut down corners in that division. You've got Jack Jones with the Raiders for all intents and purposes. You have Patrick Surtain. And so those are 4 games out of the year that like they're going to have to play those fucking teams. And if Xavier Worthy is your main guy and your biggest problem is like him being able to open up. I mean, like I trust, me being an Eagles fan, I trust Andy Reid to be able to like create movement and get him, free him up off the line. But I don't know. I just don't.
Who do you think the Chiefs could trade that they could actually get a good receiver from them, and not fucking pretty much rape their soul doing it?
Well, some teams just want to move off of contracts so that they can open things up, so they can,
No,
they can
I know that
they can make draft pick trades. I could see them getting rid of like, like the Titans are dealing with their big defensive tackle being out right now, so they've got a couple of guys on the defense that you could always look for rotation guys, or look like like pieces. So if you get a piece and a draft pick, because let's be real, I'm pretty sure even after this big win against the Dolphins, the Titans aren't thinking like Super Bowl. They're just thinking, let's just get some guys, and we can ship off a fucking 40-year-old DeAndre Hopkins for 1 season, get ourselves a couple of draft picks, and set ourselves up for the future. Because realistically, like,
I'm not gonna lie to you, the Titans could benefit from Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
I think they already have Tyjae Spears, and they already have Tony Pollard. They have 2 guys not really who are solid.
Tyjae Spears isn't doing bad, but he isn't doing phenomenal. I feel like Clyde Edwards-Helaire is a little bit of a bigger body that might benefit them. Pollard is still doing Pollard things. I mean, he's still putting up points. He's still getting his reps in. I just feel like Clyde Edwards-Helaire would be a better partnership with Pollard than Tyjae Spears. I'm not saying he's bad. I'm just saying, like, maybe 1 more year understudy, and he should be.
I think who they might target, in my opinion, was probably Amari Cooper, Deontay Johnson from Carolina, and then DeAndre Hopkins.
Deontay Johnson just got there, though, didn't he?
He just got there, but he's only under, like, a 1 or 2 year contract. He's not under a long contract.
The way he performed this last game, you know what I mean? Which brings me into another fun subject is, Panthers players. Like, Deontay Johnson, Andy Dalton took over the fucking offense, and I know, right? Carson Wentz, fucking the better version.
Nope.
Anyways, like I was saying though, Andy Dalton, he came in, he took the reins, and pretty much everybody was eating. Like, all the Panthers players went from fucking stay the hell away from them to, oh my god, I need to get them before somebody else picks them up off the fucking waivers. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No joke. In one of my leagues, I actually picked up Deontay Johnson in in one of my leagues off of waiver, like legit right before the game fucking kicked off. And I threw him on my roster. I was like, I don't really like that guy. I went to go see what was on the waivers, and Deontay Johnson was the first name in the wide receivers. And I was just like, oh shit, let me pick that up. I feel like that might do me some good, Dalton's back there, kicking ass, so I think he'll do all right this one, especially against Cincinnati. They weren't doing so well for the season, and they almost won this game, to be real with you.
Yeah,
they did.
He looked less efficient. He was a lot less efficient in this game than he was in the first start. But I mean,
at the same time, Chuba Hubbard was doing his fucking thing in the backfield too. So that's another thing. And Chuba Hubbard. It's like I said, Andy Dalton being. I said this a couple weeks back. I feel Andy Dalton being in the backfield and controlling the reins now. The defenses are going to have to know at this point, like, okay, passes can be completed now. There can be damage done to us in the air now, because now we know for a fact this motherfucker knows how to throw some touchdowns and win.
Yeah.
So now defenses have to start playing true again. They have to start playing conservative again. They have to start, going in the zone and things of that nature, as opposed to applying pressure every fucking play because they know the QB's going to crumble.
I was going to say, you can't stack the box because you know that guy can go over
you can't with that guy. He's going to fucking eat you up in the middle of the field every fucking down. So they know that now. And what did it do? It did exactly what I said. I feel like it's going to open up more opportunities for Hubbard to really shine. And he has. He has. Like Chuba Hubbard was actually he wasn't in the top 5, but he was in the top 10. I have him on my roster. He went 18 carries for 104 yards, 1 touchdown, and he did great on his receptions again. He went perfect, 4 for 4 receptions for 17 yards. Not as much production as last game, but he still got a touchdown out of it, and he still broke 100 yards in the rushing area. So that's good. That's a really good sign for fantasy owners. That means that if in the last 2 games with a different quarterback, being able to deliver the ball is giving him that much of an opportunity to turn his fantasy scores from fucking 4 points a game if he was lucky to fucking cracking well over 20 the last 2 weeks. Shit, he went 23 this one. He went 31, 32 last week. In our league at least, yes, in our league.
No, I mean, just in general, he was like a touchdown reliant RB3 flex option.
Oh yeah, and that's where I had him. I had him as my flex.
Yeah,
and the one that I regret not starting, who sat on my bench, was Xavier Leggett. He got his first touchdown. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He fucking did. I actually have it right here in my sleepers. Some sleepers that I had wrote down about, because I was, like I said, this whole week was just wild. I was just like, dude, these guys are popping off, and nobody even knew they fucking existed for a while. You know, like Leggett, he went 6 for 66 yards, 1 touchdown, 10 rushing yards. He finally got his first touchdown. You know, fantasy wise, that's not bad. The only downside is the 6 catches were out of, I think, 10 or 11 targets total.
But
the good note on that though is 10 or 11 targets.
Yeah, that's huge.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that his targets went from fucking 2 a game, 1 a game, to what is 100 times that immediately. Yep. Just instantly like that. You know what I mean? Chase Brown from the Cleveland Browns. He was it Cleveland Browns or Cincinnati Bengals? Sorry, Cincinnati Bengals. He went the fuck off. He had 84 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns, and 2 receptions for 12 yards.
That's
the 2 touchdowns being the biggest thing.
Cincinnati
and it is
a split backfield.
It really is.
Literally half and half.
Yeah. Zach Moss had a hell of a game, but Chase Brown got 2 touchdowns.
He's not been doing bad.
So
that's why I said sleeper, because as well as Zach Moss has been performing for the Cincinnati Bengals, getting a thing, which, kudos to him. He finally found a system that's working for him, and he's getting the job done. You know what I mean? But, Chase Brown came out of nowhere and got those 2 touchdowns, plus 84 yards rushing. You know what I mean? He took the most out of his touches. He took advantage of the most of his touches. One of my bigger, going back to the Panthers, sleepers, was Andy Dalton himself. That's 2 games in a row that he popped the fuck off. And he did his fucking thing. The commentators were talking about it just in the first drive alone. I think he hit 4 to 6 different fucking receivers.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. Is this year, so far, being the best year for backup quarterbacks? Because on Minnesota, JJ McCarthy went out. He was a starter. Sam Darnold comes in, popping off. For
Geno Smith popping off.
Well, he's not.
Justin Fields popping off.
He's the starter. He's the starter this year. But for the Bears, or not the Bears,
a lot of people wrote him off. They thought he was going to be a bust.
For the Steelers, right? Justin Fields came in. He was the backup. So that's 2 right there. Then you look at the Panthers. Andy Dalton come in, backup, doing awesome. And then now we saw Anthony Richardson went out, and Joe Flacco is doing really good.
Dude, I was going to bring that up. I was actually going to bring that up.
Hold on,
doing pretty well.
I've got 1 year that's better for a backup quarterback. 2017, baby. Fucking let's go. Fly Eagles fly.
Fly Eagles fly. No, but this year for backup quarterbacks is pretty crazy.
Yeah, no. So like you said, backup quarterback's
impressive.
Another one that we're talking about coming into the game because of an injury, Joe Flacco. But guess what happened? The receivers' numbers started increasing. Josh Dowd went from having a terrible game last week. I think he had 22 yards receiving. I think maybe.
Yeah, I think he had 2 or 3 targets. I don't know.
It was ridiculous. It was something very minimal. You're just oh man, I thought he would have a better comeback. But this game around, he had 8 receptions for 82 yards and a touchdown.
It's amazing. It's amazing what can happen when your quarterback completes more than 50% of his passes, and throws more and attempts more than 20 passes. It's fucking
Joe Flacco
insane.
Ended with 18 fantasy points, right, in most leagues, off of only being in the game for a short while.
Yeah.
Hey, but tell me this.
2 touchdowns.
Why are all the backup quarterbacks seasoned veterans who feel like, oh, bro, I feel like I'm stepping back into my rookie year because all these motherfuckers are young, but I know everything now. You know what I mean? I am the cheat code this time. You know what I mean? So he's got these fresh young bodies running these beautiful routes and doing these amazing things that they were used to seeing when they first came into the league with their rookies. You know what I mean? But now they have all these veteran years of experience and knowledge and the ways that they know how to play and deliver the ball now in the big leagues, that they're playing with these young guys and they're showing out because it's like I said, their veteran experience is just starting to shine. It's showing, like, you know, I'm that quarterback that you could put me with these young guys and I'm going to make the fucking rock, you know, I'm going to make a beautiful thing happen.
I think
because I wouldn't do it with guys that I would put up into it. Yeah.
They got nothing.
They've already made their money too.
I was going to say.
Joe Flacco's already got a Super Bowl.
Well,
they got nothing to prove.
I think you find guys in like multiple situations, like what Anthony's saying. They got nothing to prove. Either A, they came from terrible systems that just
or systems that were already falling apart.
That were like the terrible systems, or like Anthony said, they're already veteran guys. They've already made their money. They have nothing to lose, so they're not afraid of going out there and throwing the ball. I think what's happening is we're seeing guys. I mean, if you really look at it too, I feel like a lot of these guys just kind of landed in the perfect systems for them.
Yeah.
Like Sam Darnold is in a system with Kevin McConnell. Like
bro.
Who was the quarterback for the last 4 years? It was fucking Kirk Cousins. And they're like he doesn't have to be mobile. So like the playbook is meant for an immobile quarterback. Like a guy to just stand in the pocket and deliver to your receivers. So like it's offensive minded. Brian Flores is fucking terrorizing offenses. Mind you, he did get a little exposed by fucking Green Bay, in the middle of the game there towards the end. But still, I mean, that is a perfect setup for him. He's got Jordan Addison coming back. He's got JJ out there. He's been fucking hitting Jalen Naylor. Like, so it's awesome seeing this because then you're also seeing the inverse where like you have these like great young quarterbacks. Like, I'm gonna put my guy on the spot. Jalen Hurts throwing to Johnny Wilson, Paris Campbell, and fucking Jahan Dotson, and he looks like Sam Darnold in New York or in Carolina, you know, with any of these shit teams that he's been with, or fucking like he looks terrible right now. He doesn't like the pocket presence is non-existent. The fucking ability to deliver a ball to the receiver like in stride is non-existent. It's insane. So it's awesome. It's exactly what Anthony's saying. You see these guys getting dropped into these systems, and like Joe Flacco. I mean, their quarterbacks the last few years, with the exception of Anthony Richardson, Carson Wentz, fucking Gardner Minshew.
Yeah.
Matt Ryan.
The only quarterback that's showing to be like elite this year, really like top quality elite, and his numbers have proven that. And you can't really say not has been Brock Purdy. His kryptonite though, right now, has been fucking Brandon Ayuk. Again, another week, 2 for fucking 5, 48 yards. All right, like.
How does that make you feel as a San Francisco 49ers fan?
It upsets me because of the whole Brandon Ayuk controversy, but now it's starting to really piss me off because, like, Brock Purdy is playing outstanding football. You can't say he hasn't. He's been doing amazing. You look at his numbers are fucking phenomenal. Honestly, if you're a fucking bettor, he's a pretty sure solid bet if you stay within the moderacy of his numbers. And honestly, he's been breaking past the highs on a majority of those bets. You know what I mean? He's just been performing great and outstanding. It's again his receivers just letting him down, dropping passes, putting him in that kind of a situation. Like, that's unacceptable. 2 for fucking 5 for 48 yards. Even if you're not gonna get a fucking touchdown again, motherfucker, at least pull in 5 for 5 and put up at least 100 fucking yards for his ass. Do your damn job. Do your fucking job.
Right now?
Huh?
Is Ayuk fleecing the 49ers right now in terms of
Ayuk is gonna get his motherfucking ass beat, bro. The Niners don't play that shit. Somebody on the streets will beat his ass. There's a bunch of crazies over there in fucking San Francisco, bro. That place is crazy. You got motherfucking bums walking around butt ass naked in there, just like, oh well, it's hot. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Like honestly, you can make the case for Brock Purdy, but right now I feel like we've seen in the past.
Sam Darnold, I'm not gonna lie to you, is man.
No, but I'm saying like we've seen in the past. There's usually like a tier of like quarterbacks, and you've got like your elite top tier, S tier, SS tier, and then you've got like your pretty damn good guys, and you've got your like great guys and then good guys. You know, like it's just like SS, A, B, C, D guys. And then and
I feel like
you got your like
this is okay. So this is my case. I feel like with Brock Purdy, if Brandon Ayuk could just pull his fucking head out of his ass, he will help Brock Purdy have an elite year.
So
if that doesn't happen, that's why I'm saying Brandon Ayuk is gonna be Brock Purdy's kryptonite.
Yeah,
he's gonna. I feel like all those drop passes and misses are gonna be the thing that separates Brock Purdy from that elite quarterback status that we want to see him in.
And I think like every quarterback has had a bad game, or at least an average showing. Because like even Brock Purdy looked human against the Vikings. Every team, every quarterback. So that's what I was saying is like normally you have kind of this triangle, like pyramid dispersion of like elite to average or like below average quarterbacks. And right now it's just kind of this. It's just like a big block of like a bunch of guys like that are like good, but then we'll have bad games, and then underneath it's just everybody else. It's just the Deshaun Watsons, the fucking
exactly. You know and it is you know, like going to QBs, you know, QBs that had, you know, an outstanding week this year. You know, we got at the very fucking top, believe it or not, is fucking Justin Fields.
Yep.
Yeah.
He was the number one QB. He was the number one QB this year. 31.98 points. Pretty much 32. He was 312 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 55 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. His only downside was his fumble loss. That might have actually put him at 33 points, maybe closer to that 35 mark if he didn't have that. Depends on the leagues that you're in.
I was going to say, this in our league, he was quarterback too, and it was only because of Jordan Love. But Jordan Love...
Yeah, but that's because we have certain extras that make our league a little more fun for some kids. He honored, and they make the game interesting.
He honored that quarterback, that jersey he wore into the stadium by going 4 TDs, 3 picks.
3 interceptions, yeah. Fucking guy. But believe it or not, he was ranked 3rd in the NFL. So this is all based off of the NFL. Like, this is the NFL's fantasy rankings. Jordan Love was ranked number 3. He still performed, like I said, great. He had 389 yards passing, 4 touchdowns. Again, those 3 interceptions were whoa. He had 6 yards.
Attempts.
Yeah, 60 yards. 6 yards rushing, and he had a 2-point conversion.
He's doing good.
Yeah, Baker Mayfield, though, placed higher than him in 2nd place with 347 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, and then he had a 10-yard rushing touchdown. That was
question.
Baker Mayfield is just doing his fucking thing again, dude. He is well on his way.
Is Justin Fields the QB1, and does Russell Wilson get his job back?
No.
Whoever's winning is winning right now. That's it.
They're 4-0, right?
Mike,
or 3-1? 3-1 now?
3-1.
Mike Tomlin is very. I'm not gonna fix what's not fucking broken. If we're winning, we're fucking winning. Let's keep to that. Yeah. So I don't see him fixing anything that's not broken. They didn't lose. Yeah, they did. They did lose this weekend.
Yeah, by like 3 points.
I see maybe 2 more losses out of Justin Fields, and they got to be some pretty terrible losses before he decides to go back to Russell.
Yeah, and I think the same thing with, like, you know, because, like, we're seeing this play from Sam Darnold. And, like, obviously, there's a precedent that's been established, right, with Sam. And the same thing with Justin Fields. There's a precedent that's been established with Justin. And we do see some of the little uglies kind of showing up in these games. And I think as we get further through the season, obviously, is Sam Darnold going to play at this level through 17 games? No. We're going to see him come back down to earth and kind of like average out to where his true potential, like where his true capability is. But at the same time, like, I think if that doesn't go below a certain point, like in Sam Darnold's case, Nick Mullins isn't going to fucking start over him. But in Justin Fields' case, like, you do have, like, a totally viable starter in Russell Wilson. So I think, like you said, I think as long as that baseline doesn't drop below a certain point, there's no reason to take him out of rhythm, take all the guys that are around him out of rhythm, and, like, the play call and, like, what the guys are getting used to. I think it'd be stupid at this point for them to try to do that.
Okay. And the guy that I'm about to talk to next, that really kind of just threw me off and that was actually tonight. I don't know how he didn't score higher, because that motherfucker went savage tonight. Jared Goff.
Yeah.
18 for 18. He was perfect in passing today. He did not have any incompletions. No. 18 for 18, and he fucking put up 292 yards and 2 touchdowns, bro. He almost broke 300 yards passing, and it was perfect. That's a fucking feat. No, then he turns around and goes, passing that perfectly is not enough. Let me catch one and take it in myself.
Yeah, they
he had a receiving touchdown today, too. That's fucking awesome. I'm happy for him. That was a good game.
Regular season game-wise, that was the first regular season game with 100% completion. Like, pass completion over 15 attempts. Like, that is crazy. Over 15 attempts.
Over 15 attempts, yes. That's crazy, bro.
The only thing
he was not, and if you look at those passes, like, he was fucking, like...
No, he was rifling. He looked like a pitcher. The way he was, like, setting up and everything, he was throwing darts. But
the one that impressed me was when he got turned around and he comes back and just goes, just fucking throws it downfield to fucking Williams, I think it was.
The 360 no scope, bro.
Yeah, the only thing, as cool as it was, the only thing that I'm just like, what? Was the fucking receiving touchdown. Because it's like, why do you bring that out in week 4? Like, the Eagles pulled that shit in the Super Bowl. You brought that in week 4?
Like,
how stupid are you? Like, now
the game is on the line.
Yeah, it's like, now that's on tape, bruh. Like, what the fuck?
All right, Baker.
I think that's okay, though, right?
No.
Because they're going to draft
it fucking works. You know what? Fuck
they're going to draft more plays. That's not going to be the only
18 for 18,
like,
292 yards, 2 touchdowns.
No, what I'm saying is...
give you a shits and giggles play, and if it works, fuck yeah. If it doesn't, oh, wow.
What I'm saying is that's a play you bring out when it's like I mean, like, literally, like, the Philly cards, like, you want Philly? And Doug Peterson's like, yeah. Like, yeah, let's do it. Fuck it. Yeah, let's do that. Like, that's some playoff shit. I loved it. Trust me, I loved it. It was fucking sick. I was like, oh, he's open. Dude, yeah, it was sick. Yeah. But I'm just like, after the play, I'm like, week 4?
So Derrick Henry threw a touchdown pass, last year, and then he did it again. So I'm saying it can happen. Like, it's fine. And that's what I think is pretty cool about it. Is like they're showcasing that bro can be a receiver, so watch out.
Exactly.
I don't think.
I do like. I did like the number 5 spot.
The Chiefs trade for Goff. For their wide receiver too. No.
Oh.
I know, right?
Get out of here.
Fuck. No. So on a good note, I do like this kid. He's been doing his thing. He's proven to be the missing piece to their puzzle. He's proven it. Is Jaden Daniels, number 5. So I'm going off of the top 5, and yeah, he placed number 5 this week with 233 yards passing, a touchdown, 47 yards rushing, and 1 touchdown, and he had a 2-point conversion as well too. So he did his thing this weekend. He scored a 24.2 points, I think it was 24.02. Yeah. But anyways, he did pretty good. He had himself a good game. He's been having himself some good games. I believe they got a winning fucking record right now. I think they're 3-1, right?
Yep.
3-1. Yeah,
because they rookie of the year so far.
Hold on.
If rookie of the year went out right now, would he be it?
If what?
If rookie of the year was decided this week, would he be it?
I think he would be. To be real with you, I don't really know.
Malik Neighbors. I've got
Malik Neighbors is doing good. But man,
Daniel Jones is his quarterback. He's making Daniel Jones look good.
This is true.
People are actually looking at Daniel Jones and be like, "Damn, has Daniel Jones been good this whole time?" Like, what the? No, he's not.
Say what you want. Say what you want. But you know what? That motherfucker showed up.
He's trash.
Baker Mayfield that shit. Jaden Daniels showed up to Washington and Baker Mayfield's that shit. He fucking turned that program around and started winning.
No. Oh, Jaden Daniels, yes. Jaden Daniels, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he has done his thing. Honestly, it would be a very close fight between the two. I think it would be, honestly, a split decision between the two.
If the season keeps going the way it's going, though, and if he stays as his favorite target, Marvin Harrison.
Neighbors.
Marvin Harrison also has is another sleeper.
Yeah, true.
Because anyways, hold on, we're going too far. Breaking off.
Sorry.
Go
back.
My bad. But breaking up because I had this paired up with it was the Jaden Daniels, and he was another sleeper that I talked about this week was Brian Robinson. He did good. He had 20 points this week. He had 101 rushing yards, 1 touchdown, and he went 3 receptions for 12 yards. The 100 yards rushing, that's a good sign. They're going to utilize him.
Well, Eckler was out.
I know.
Protocol.
I was going to say, Eckler was out with the concussion protocol, but Robinson is showing that he's going to take advantage of his touches and he's going to start putting up numbers himself. Obviously, he's fighting for reps at this point.
Yeah.
So he was another sleeper that fucking knocked it off for some people this week. I guarantee you he was on a lot of people's bench, to be real with you, unless they were smart enough to follow up with the Washington Commanders and realize that he was starting.
What was his draft capital? Brian Robinson. Wasn't he pretty low in the draft?
I think he went kind of around like a little high. A little higher than like Jerome Ford, I think. Between like Jerome,
he went higher than Jerome Ford, but he didn't go as high. He wasn't.
I think he was around like a Swift. I think it was like a Swift level, right? Like 4th, 5th round.
Yeah, I think. Okay, yeah. I think he was a little lower than that actually. I think he was like 6 or 7.
That's what I said. He's like kind of between Swift and Ford.
Yeah. But speaking of people that are kind of popping off, I guess you could say sleepers. I wouldn't say he was a sleeper, but he was definitely one to keep an eye on because he just came back. Was Kenny Walker tonight? He fucking did his thing, bro.
Put him on your bench next week.
Yeah, 80 yards rushing for 3 touchdowns. He had 4 receptions for 36 yards. The 3 touchdowns is the biggest thing.
Yeah. And that was against a Detroit defense.
Yeah,
who's
not been allowing running backs to play.
Shit.
And that being said, even with him doing well, somebody who had like a decent game. Granted, he had the big run was Charbonnet. Like Charbonnet still had fantasy value, considering you'd expect him to fall off once Kenneth Walker comes back.
Now this guy, I had him in the top 5 because he was top 5 this week, but he was definitely a fucking sleeper, and I think he might have been sleeper of the week, to be real with you. We might be able to make some close arguments, but for me, it definitely was a DeAndre Swift.
Caleb Williams is still awkward in this whole offensive scheme, or just like their whole play, because DeAndre Swift was their wide receiver 1, essentially. Like all these checkdowns that are happening just to get him out. Yeah, but like the next best, most receptions for a receiver was Cole Kmet at 3.
Yeah,
like he's struggling a little bit. The previous game he did better. This game, not so much. Albeit they're going against LA Rams, so it is a little bit stronger of competition compared, I think, to the Colts last game.
Yeah, but I will say I don't think the Rams are a very good defense. Like they don't have a very good defense, so it's like that should have been kind of a little more of an even game.
Yeah. Yeah, but he's still struggling. So even though DeAndre Swift had like a breakout,
I don't think Caleb Williams
trust him again for the next
struggling.
Huh?
Yeah.
No.
Did you see DJ Moore with
no. So much is like what it is. Let me rephrase that.
I think it's play calling.
He's struggling, but it's not because he can't get the job done. He's struggling because he refuses to hear any of the criticism.
That's also struggling a different way,
I mean,
right? Because that's a guy being.
You know what I mean? And I feel like because of that, he's not growing.
No, did he?
You know what I mean?
How do you fix that?
So that's what I feel like. That's what I'm saying, and that's what I feel like is leading to his struggle. Like that's what I'm saying. Like I wouldn't say he's struggling on the aspect of talent or being able to get the job done. I feel like he's struggling with the ability just to learn to fucking take criticism for what it is and be constructive with it and use it to make him a better player. I think he's just been too much on his own fucking high horse for too long that he's just not taking the criticism and really thinking that he's the best thing since sliced bread. It's like, homie, the best thing since sliced bread comes in and starts winning fucking games. Like, I guess he made a fucking stupid comment after CJ Stroud was kind of giving him some advice after the game. And it's like, if you're going to take anybody's advice, why not his? As much success as he had his rookie year. You know what I mean? He turned around and he took the Houston Texans damn near to the playoffs until he got injured and he lost a couple other people. You know what I mean? That was honestly it. They just caught the injury bug too late in the season, and it kind of fucked them in the back end. But other than that, he had a very good season.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So
he won offensive.
He was just giving very. You could tell that the words like, I think they have it written down somewhere what he actually said, and it was very constructive criticism. It wasn't anything bad. It was just like, you know,
criticism. He literally was just like,
it was just like, keep your head up,
you're gonna be a dog. You're gonna be great. Just like
you're gonna be great. Just give it your time and be patient, and you'll see what happens. And he just made a stupid comment like, "What the fuck do I give a fuck about what he said?" You know, this and that nature.
And I mean, like one. So
and it's like, but at the same time, it's also a situation where it's like, you know what, bitch. And he's from USC. I'm a diehard USC fan, but fuck this motherfucker. Because at the same time, it's like, how about take the criticism, take what he said, and let it encourage you? Because you're talking to a guy who isn't just getting it done here and now. He got it done when over there, which you couldn't get done. Motherfucker's got a national championship under his belt before he came out here, doesn't he?
Yeah. Luis, what were you gonna say? You were gonna say something about Caleb Williams?
Like for me, I just feel like we've seen this, we've known this. Like, we knew this was an issue.
Yeah, no, I do.
Heading into the draft, we knew this was an issue at USC when Lincoln Riley was like, fucking coddling the shit out of him. So, like, I think, realistically, scale of 1 to 10, if you're because, like, obviously we play redraft, but if you're a dynasty manager and you drafted, because typically Caleb was going first overall, first or second overall in a lot of dynasty leagues.
I drafted him as a backup, and I figured he wouldn't be bad.
As a backup in redraft, it's like you can pick somebody. You can pick up Sam Darnold off of waivers and easily replace Caleb. If you drafted him first or second overall, if you overlooked Marvin Harrison Jr. and you were like, "This is my guy. I'm taking Caleb Williams," and now you're fucking stuck with him. And it's almost like a real like a real GM or a real fucking front office owner. Like, how do you move on from Caleb Williams when he's not even giving you double-digit points? And you're like, how do I trade this guy? How do I get rid of... I can't drop him to waivers.
And the worst part is this. Like how my brother said, your best case scenario is that you just don't know how to play fantasy and you fucking suck and you're possibly going to come in last. Or at least very early in the redraft when we redraft again with the new guys. So you could always look for a better quarterback in the new draft. The downside is, if you're like the three of us who don't have bad seasons, I haven't had one yet. You know what I mean? We're always in the playoffs. We're always fighting for a championship spot. That's who the people who get fucked that took that chance because they're like, well, my team's too strong. It's never going to come out. It's another 15 years before this motherfucker goes down. You know what I mean? Like,
but so, I mean, like,
so now I'm stuck with that bitch.
No. So that's what I'm saying. So scale of 1 to 10. How fucking terrified are you right now? Because, like you just said, in order to get access to this guy, you had to have the number 1 pick, or maybe in Dynasty, maybe the number 2 pick. If somebody was like, I'm good at quarterback. I've got a young Jalen or a fucking like a young quarterback.
And we're talking about people drafted for like maybe the second or third year, right? Because we all know dynasty goes based off of a certain amount of years. That I think we said.
Well, so. you can predetermine it. So I mean, some people are like 5-year dynasties, like longer.
That's what I'm saying. Like the good news is like first draft overall ever starting dynasty. You probably didn't pick up Caleb Williams. I'll give you that.
Well, because it's dynasty. Because you're looking at career. You're not looking at...
The thing is, the very first year, you got to do 2 drafts. You got to do 1 draft with all the current players to set your teams. And then you got to do another draft for when the new draft, after the new draft happens. So, so you can take your little dabbles into the new recruiting class.
Regardless of that, dynasty.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying he wouldn't have went high.
No. So I just want to finish my point. How fucking terrified are you? Because you had to be either the first or the second pick to get access to Caleb Williams in the draft. And that being said, like you just mentioned, in order to get the first or second pick, you had to be the worst or second worst team in the fucking league in order to get access to him. So if you're looking for a quarterback and you were the worst or second worst team, obviously you're relying on this guy, just like an NFL roster, to fucking elevate your team to the next level. So that's what I'm saying. What are we smashing the panic button on Caleb Williams? I mean, even in redraft, like, no? Are we saying no? Or are we saying yes? I'm talking fantasy aspect.
After next season,
in fantasy, yes.
In fantasy, yes. Obviously, if you're the Bears,
after next season,
you can't. Because then you end up with Bryce Young.
Yes. After this season, not so much.
But that's not true.
He could have a Justin Fields kind of bounce back, maybe better.
Justin Fields had to go to a new team after 3 years. So that's my point.
2 years. But I'm saying his last 2 years weren't as bad as his first. His first was
true.
And they were still bad years. They were better than his first, but they were still bad years. So that's why I'm saying how scared are we? And more than that,
I don't say we're scared. I think they feel like they found the QB that they want in Caleb Williams. Now at this point I think they're gonna ride it out a few years and see how they can build around him.
But so now, but this is also the thing. Justin Fields, Bryce Young, like these guys that we're mentioning, right? That had like terrible starts. Their confidence.
No, we're not even going to talk about Bryce Young. He's going to the USFL next year.
But so listen. Caleb Williams might be going to his fucking couch because if he's uncoachable, which he's already showing it through the first 4 weeks of his career.
Oh yeah.
He's not even going to be on a roster. Nobody's going to want to deal with that shit. That's what I'm trying to say. So that's what I mean. Like how are we smashing the panic button? Because like
I feel like he'll be on a roster for another 2 teams before they finally just say.
Because especially, but even then, really look at it. Look at the guys that we're talking about right now this year. We just mentioned it. It's the year of the comeback quarterback, right? Of the guy who was on a bad system. Sam Darnold's, even your Geno Smiths and Baker Mayfields. They're a couple years with their new systems, but they were fucking on. They were backups by all intents and purposes. Yeah. And now. But all of those guys, none of them showed the same traits or qualities that I'm really getting from Caleb of like being uncoachable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's the only thing that I think really scares me.
That's his downfall right now. Oh. It's like if you're going to be coachable, this is the year to be the most coachable.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
It's like want to take in everything.
No Diddy, yes.
Yeah. No Diddy. You just want to be able to take in everything, you know?
Yeah.
Soak it up like a sponge. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's so bad. Like, that's his struggle. That's his struggle. It's not his field play. If he learns to get over that hump, you'll see his field play is going to be something spectacular because he's just not hearing that one fucking thing that the coach probably tells him every week, and he's just, fuck you, I know more than you. You wanted me, not the other way around. It's like, nah, I kind of got stuck with you, and I look like an idiot if I didn't pick you up. So.
Question. This is a random question.
Now he's sitting there like, I should have went with Marvin fucking Harrison.
Question. Do you think it's so far, it's looking like it actually might be in his best interest not to make playoffs? Right? Like, if somehow the Bears, you know, they don't make playoffs, will that humble him in any way? Like, will that bring him down to earth? Like, I'm not the new.
He has to have a losing season.
No. He honestly, and it sounds terrible. The only thing that is gonna humble him is, I think,
somebody beating his ass in the locker room.
An injury. I was gonna say an injury, or a benching, because realistically, if they don't make the playoffs, guess what? From the character he's already showing, the team was bad. There's nothing I could do to. They had the first pick for a reason. Team was bad. They let go of their starting quarterback. They brought me in to save the franchise. I can't save a losing franchise. That's like, he has an out. The only way that he humbles himself is, I fucking have to work my way back. I have to go through rehab because I got injured.
The only way he humbles himself is if he gets Bryce Young.
And I mean, fuck.
I'm just saying, no offense.
That's a one-of-one situation.
No
Bryce Young is a one-of-one.
Yeah.
No, I'm not gonna lie. I'm just saying, no offense, but you throw Andy Dalton in the same program as Caleb Williams, and they're winning games.
Joe
in my
Flacco,
opinion.
same thing, yeah.
Yep. Joe Flacco, same thing. You know what I mean? Like,
cause
shit. You could even throw in Baker Mayfield and Geno Smith in those positions. They're gonna win with those guys. They already know how to play under pressure. Shit, Baker Mayfield's been playing under pressure since year one. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So that's
them
nothing new to them.
Yeah, them missing the playoffs. I mean, realistically, because you look at it as like, okay, it humbles him because he missed the playoffs. Like, oh, I was expected to save the franchise. I didn't really do that. We go into the playoffs. We don't make the playoffs. End up with the high draft pick. They're gonna draft a 20-year-old center or guard or lineman. Because really, when you look aside from that, they got DeAndre Swift. They've got Khalil Herbert, who's shown he can be reasonably decent as a running back. You've got DJ Moore, Darnell Mooney. You went and got Rome Odunze, or not Darnell Mooney, sorry, Keenan Allen. You've got Rome. You went out and got Rome Odunze. Like, so he has weapons. He has weapons around him. So it's just I don't think so. But no, Rome Odunze wasn't injured. He just played like shit. He only got like 2 targets. So
yeah, the most receptions was by DeAndre Swift, I guess.
Yeah, so I mean, you just there's really no targets. The defense itself is not bad. So it's like
no, that's actually one of the biggest highlights. Yeah, not the biggest highlight of that team.
So it's like, what more? Like, he was put into a winning scenario, and the reason I say Bryce, like you mentioned Bryce Young, like we've joked about Bryce Young. Bryce Young is a 1 of 1. He's putting up similar numbers to fucking Jamarcus Russell, but Jamarcus Russell was notorious for not reading, like not watching film, not trying, like basically just surviving off of talent. Bryce Young is trying and doing all of those things and still putting up Jamarcus Russell numbers. So he's a 1 of 1. We cannot compare anybody to Bryce Young. Nobody will ever be that bad at football in the NFL. Like, unless you just got a guy off the street. So, so Caleb,
I don't know, man. I feel like I could do pretty good.
But that's what I'm saying. Unless you got a guy off the street, like nobody else can be that bad at football. But yeah, I think, I don't know. I think I wanted to ignore the character issues. You know, this brings up a bigger issue, like character issues when we talk about draft prospects. And like, do they matter? Because obviously, like right now, we've got Shador coming into the draft, and people are talking about his attitude and his character and stuff like that, and how does that translate to an NFL roster? And we saw this stuff with Caleb. But at least Shador has shown leadership qualities. We've never really seen that from Caleb. We've never really seen Caleb be like the leader, the guy. Everybody wants to point. Yeah, everybody. He's captain. Yeah, that's voted by the players. I'll put it this way: if your quarterback isn't captain, there's a bigger issue. You know, hey, he's a dog. We got dogs and leaders. No, but you know, goddamn. I don't know. I'm off Caleb. I'm off the Caleb train. Being a fucking, I mean, I don't know. I just don't.
How much stock do you put into that game for DeAndre Swift? Now that you see that he's the check down guy. Like,
None.
Whelan just chucking to him.
None.
So is that a fluke performance?
Because
it's not a fluke performance. It's a performance that worked because it's the first time they finally did it.
Yeah.
But the minute that other teams see it and they account for it, it's gonna.
Here's the reason I don't agree. We saw Cole Kmet do the same thing last week.
Didn't do shit.
So it's just who am I gonna? Who's open? Who is the defense allowing me to check down to? Is it my tight end? Is it my running back? I think that's just all we're gonna see. I don't right now. I'm off anybody in that offense. Quarterback, receivers. I don't even trust DJ Moore. I don't trust receivers. At least with Justin Fields, we can trust DJ Moore.
Or DJ Moore is stuck in a bad situation because he knows his quarterback's here to stay, and he just signed a new contract.
He went from
so he's not going
Carolina
anywhere.
to the Bears.
No,
that guy's
he's not
living
going
in
anywhere.
hell. Yeah,
Bro is cooked.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. And in his mind,
he's looking back at Carolina like, now they want to start this motherfucker.
Well, no. Yeah. I mean, we've seen it. He even in the post game with the Texans and everything, he's like, I didn't want him. He's like, I thought we were fine at quarterback. Like,
yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. And
he's like, they should have never got rid of Fields.
He's like, I didn't want him gone. You know. So.
Yep.
But.
Yeah.
I think the Bears did not build around.
They didn't.
Justin Fields at all.
He didn't have a Roma Dunze. He didn't have a Keenan Allen. He had fucking DJ
what
Moore
they
and
should have
Darnell
did before
Mooney.
they got the Roma Dunzes this year, they should have like invested heavily into their defense and their offensive line, because he didn't have bad receivers before. He didn't have bad players on his squad. He could have got the job done with the weapons he had if he had good enough protection. You know what I'm saying?
Here's the worst part.
I feel like they should have at least drafted some capital into linemen to get him better protected that could come up with him. And then now this year, we're catching all the fucking Roma Dunzes. We're catching all this. So it's like, okay, now we're completing our offense. Now we're feeling good. And, and they could have expedited the process easily by trades and free agency pickups, because that's
what they did.
Those things are gold mines.
Last year, if you remember, in halfway through the season, that's when they made some changes on the defensive side, where they're like, hey, we need to bring in, I think it was Montez Sweat, I believe his name. I can't remember who it was, but they brought in
picked him up
an
the
edge
same
rusher.
time that we picked up Chase Young.
Yeah, they picked up an edge rusher, and then all of a sudden you see their defense start performing really good in the second half of last year, right? So they started making some moves towards defense last year, and then,
Here's why I call bullshit on that, though. Justin Fields comes in as a rookie, right? We're expecting him to save the franchise. Obviously, he doesn't. On the defense, we fire sale the whole fucking defense. We get rid of I'm saying we. They get rid of Khalil Mack. They get rid of Roquan Smith. They get rid of Robert Quinn. They get rid of Patrick Queen. Like, what the fuck did you expect when you get rid of 3 of your biggest tacklers, 1 of your biggest defensive linemen, and you're like, the defense can't play anymore? What the fuck did you expect? You're loading the box with bums. You're playing you're basically the Eagles in 2016, and you expect to get anything done? What the fuck did you expect? Huh?
Yo, this could be like Luis's crash out segment right here, bro. That was great.
No, I'm just saying, because that shit is so stupid. And then they're like, we got him DJ Moore, but he doesn't have a defense that can hold a fucking team under 40 points.
Yep.
No wonder was what it was.
No wonder they signed Caleb Williams, because they see Caleb Williams fucking almost going to national championships with the same team. God damn, you know what I mean? Like, it fucking makes no sense, man. Makes no sense. Nope. And then to see Caleb in this system and not perform, I'm not giving Caleb any fucking leeway. No, because they gave Justin nothing, and he still produced
something
better than this. Like, Justin could have done this. Like, what the fuck?
We're seeing it in Pittsburgh with some. Look, his best receiver right now is Pickens, right? With Pickens, and then
who everybody was
really good
out on,
and a good offensive line. So they provide him some time.
He went off with Freiermuth too.
Yeah,
Freiermuth. Yeah. Freiermuth was the second highest tight end with 16 points. He had 5 receptions, 57 yards, and a touchdown.
Yeah, I think the passing game he's got over 200 yards in passing, and then has had like 1 or 2 touchdowns in each game's rushing. Right, he's doing good, and that's why they want to stick with him. I mean, we're seeing that. So the other game I wanted to touch on real quick. I don't know how many other games you guys wanted to cover, but the Raiders and Cleveland.
That game was
interesting.
That game was so
the only reason it was interesting to me is because
you guys really slid on by.
Look, we figured out who our running back one is.
Yeah.
Alexander Madison.
Yep.
Look, he did 5 carries for 60 yards. Stick with him. And that's what Antonio Pierce said in the press conference. We're going to stick with him, give him more reps, right?
Yeah.
So we now know who our guy is in the backfield. The other thing is, without Devontae Adams, without Max Crosby, we actually were still able to pressure the quarterback.
That's
right.
right.
Now, mind you, it's Deshaun Watson. Mind you, they are not good on offense either. No. I will not say that they are the greatest on offense, right? But we were still able to pressure them. We still held them to under 20 points defensively. So it's like, hey, that's kind of cool to see, you know? But from a Raiders fan perspective, still a shit game. But at the same time, it allowed us to kind of see, okay, what can we do without our star players? What can we do when Max Crosby isn't playing on a high ankle sprain and Devontae Adams has a hamstring injury? Like, what can we do without them?
And Devontae Adams doesn't want to play for us anymore.
Hey, I don't know where he's going to go. I'm just saying it was still something to at least see, give us a little hope.
That man is still requesting a trade. 3 quarterbacks.
Probably,
still out of here.
I think just from a Raiders fan perspective, it's kind of like, all right, we'll take this dub. We're still skeptical. We're not gonna get our hopes up at all.
No.
But at least it was
Don't
cool
tell
to
no
see.
Raider people that shit.
Yeah.
Oh no, they probably know, but they know that our
no,
our
it's
ceiling
Raider
is
Nation.
extremely limited
It's
if we
Raider
don't have Max
Nation, really.
Crosby or Devontae in it.
Yeah.
So extremely limited. But the other side of things for Cleveland, they're still doing pretty bad under Watson, right?
Terrible.
Amari Cooper had some big drops.
They gotta get that
Big
guy some
drop.
massages or something. Like
Hey,
get him
But
back.
it wasn't just him. Amari Cooper dropped like 2 or 3 bombs, right? Or passes over, I would say 20 yards,
Yeah.
right? So it was like, what's going on with that guy? Because they were in his chest. Like, I'm talking ball to chest, no diddy.
Yeah. It's like,
It was pretty crazy. So, yeah, it was an interesting game. Something that you don't go crazy over for sure. Like we did when we beat the Ravens, but still, it was kind of like, all right, we're still on the roller coaster. This was the up game now. Now next game, it's gonna go back down. So we're 2-2. We're tied with other teams, so that's not too bad. But it was something.
Same.
It was something.
Are all 3 of us 2-2?
One of the probably.
I think we all are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got screwed on some pretty good ones.
Crushed.
Well, you guys played the Vikings, which now we know the Vikings are extremely
Legit.
good.
They're legit. Yeah.
Legit. They
They're
are
actually legit. And they just got
Yeah,
Jordan
they're-
Addison back
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
full
What's another
effect.
game you guys wanted to talk about? I know there's plenty that
And the
happened.
one I'm fucking laughing and dying about is the fucking Cowboys game. Like they won, but they fucking struggled.
It was close.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
It was 20-15. But on a bright note for Giants fans, like I had said a couple weeks
I was gonna say
ago,
we predicted it in the last
Daniel Jones.
episode.
Yeah, Daniel Jones. I feel like he finally found his number one receiver. He finally found somebody he could connect with.
Someone that
He's
was
making him
fair.
look like a stud, which is good. That means that fucking the Giants finally won, and they found a receiver who can connect well with Daniel Jones, because obviously some magic is happening over there.
Yeah.
With
And the wide
Neighbors.
receiver too. Wandale Robinson.
Yeah,
Bro was
and that's what I was
actually
gonna say
good.
too. Wandale Robinson had himself a fucking game. Like,
Yeah.
but bro, my guy, he went 11 receptions for 71 yards. Again, doesn't sound productive, but in fantasy, that's a great thing to take into consideration, because 11 fucking receptions.
Mhm.
All right, he had 11 catches out of what? I don't have his stats up here like that.
Let me ask you this, Rudy. Rudy, where else would you see a wide receiver 2 getting 11 receptions? Like, what other team?
Houston.
I can't name one off the top of my head.
Houston.
Besides what we just saw with
Houston?
yeah,
All right,
Houston,
Houston,
or
that's
with
one.
or the Panthers now, like
Philadelphia.
Leggett.
He got
Leggett-
6. Leggett got
Leggett,
6
in
or
my
7.
opinion, is not a wide receiver 2, or I mean a wide receiver 1.
So I
but
think
he
Houston
had-
so far is the only
he had
wide
10
receiver that went over
targets.
10.
He had 10 targets.
10 targets, no receptions. This guy got
Oh, we're
11
talking about
receptions.
Just receptions.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
bro, he
Like,
had
a wide
more
receiver
receptions
too.
than
Yeah.
some wide receiver 1s.
Maybe Philly on like a week where we're like we're actually throwing. But yeah, really no.
Yeah.
I will say the only thing that I'm gonna dial it back. Number 1, they couldn't finish a fucking drive.
Nope.
Number 2,
Yeah.
number 2, Deron Bland is still on IR, so the Cowboys defense still isn't even at full power.
What is it?
Yes.
Haven't hit my final form yet.
Demarcus Lawrence went out
Out.
in the second half. Micah Parsons missed a lot of the fourth quarter. So,
Yep.
but that being said, and if you really look at it, Malik Neighbors came online really in that like halfway through the second quarter to like middle of the fourth quarter. Like those probably good 20-25 minutes. That's
So
where he
would you
really
say-
came out.
So when we're talking about it like this now, and you're talking about all that, would you say Giants got them on the next round?
In New York,
He ran it back.
in New York, I think they can win that game. I think they can win that
Yeah.
game in New York.
I agree.
We're gonna keep an eye on that one.
Especially
Do you
considering.
think the Cowboys stand a chance against the Niners at home? Nah, I'm
Oh
joking.
wait, you know what? They
No.
were in New York.
No.
They were in New York. I actually think the Cowboys lose at home.
In home?
At
Oh,
home.
dude, that'd be a beautiful thing. We know what it's like to hand ball to ass at Banner Stadium. So It's a beautiful thing. It's a great feeling.
No,
Well,
I don't think Dallas can keep
shit,
up with
we
any
get
team
cheaters
that's
caught
better
I
up,
was
than
gonna
bro.
say I don't
We
think
get cheaters caught up. They had to film their depression, and they're like, "That's my husband."
Yeah, no,
Fuck,
I mean
remember
in
that
general, like I mentioned it last episode. Like, I think
Oh, that was
I think
great.
the Cowboys are overrated. I think the Giants are a little bit underrated. I think now people
I
are
think
starting
the
to see
Eagles
their
are
potential.
definitely overrated as well too.
I think especially when you're missing 3 of your top fucking offensive weapons. Yeah,
Look
you're
at him! Look at him!
you're
Look
missing
at him!
your
Look at him!
all-world right
Look at him.
tackle. You're missing your all.
I
didn't
I
hear.
think the Eagles are overrated too.
was like, yeah, like you're missing your all-world right
You saw how
tackle and your
crazy he went real quick?
2,000-yard receivers.
What did you say? What
I
did
mean,
you-
we saw what you guys did to the Bengals when you didn't have Trent Williams, Debo Samuel last season. Like,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Like if a team is missing its weapons, so I don't want to touch on the game because, like, there really isn't anything to take from this game, I really feel. Except for Jalen. Like, Jalen's decision-making, I think, is really bad right now, and it's shown throughout the season. But,
Well, hold on. On the Dallas and New York Giants portion, though, I do want to say their offensive scheming or whatever is going on there is really odd because they're not utilizing any of their other wide receivers. They are literally looking at CD. If he's not open, it's Ferguson. They don't run the ball much. They try to pass it, but it's mostly to CD and Ferguson. It is, to me, a very one-dimensional offense right now. They look for Cooks. I don't know. It's just not happening there. Other than
We
that,
need to
it's
start
Tolbert,
looking
right?
for Cooks though, because Cooks finds a way to get open. I'll get that.
But I think that's just
motherfucker back.
limiting them. I don't know what's going on, but it's like they are trying to force feed CD in any chance, which is fine, right? But it's like, what's going on there if they can't put up more points on the board? Like,
I don't think it's
it's odd to me.
they
Do
lost
they
a
still
couple.
have Jalen Cropper over there?
Jalen, I don't think so. He's on the practice squad. He's on the practice squad. So it's CD, Brandon Cooks, and Kevontae Turpin. Those are their 3 guys. So I just think the disparity between wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 is just too high to where they really have no option to go anywhere else. Unless Brandon Cooks is wide open, they're not going to look his way.
Yeah, no,
So, yeah,
that's it.
it's
And they
just-
don't run the ball either. You know, they rarely utilize.
They
Rico
tried.
and
They
Ezekiel.
tried to, but they're just inefficient. I will say
I
the
think those-
offensive line
I think they
themselves,
fucked
they've
up
lost
in
some
not
pieces.
keeping Pollard is what they did.
Yeah. I think they should have
I can
kept
see
Tony
that.
Pollard. Yeah, like I think that's a big piece to lose. We're seeing him have success with Tennessee.
Honestly, I feel like him and Dowdle would have had a pretty good dynamic duo thing going on back there. To be honest,
I mean, you swap 1 for 1, a fucking aging Ezekiel Elliott or and mid prime, late prime Tony Pollard. Like, it makes total
yeah,
sense.
I would have stuck with Pollard because
But
I still don't understand that decision. I can't get it.
but
It's
Do you
like
wanna
the
circle
Cowboys.
back to the Eagles, though?
yeah, that's what I was
It's
saying.
on
So,
the
so
news.
cycling back, like, I don't think this game holds much value in terms of like what you can take from it, except for Jalen's decision making. They're incomprehensible play calling and not utilizing
Sucks, bro.
at the time your best player, because like it's debatable whether your best player is AJ or Devontae or Saquon. When Devontae and AJ are gone, I love Dallas Goedert. I love Jalen Hurts. Your best player on the fucking field is Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, hands down, not even close.
Hands down. So him not getting touches early in those possessions, and you're going 3 and out, you're fucking turning the ball over, you have 0 yards, and they've got 240. Like, it's a no fucking brainer. It's a no
Check this
brainer.
out.
Give the ball to Saquon. Like,
Check this out. Saquon Barkley got 10 attempts, ran for 84 yards. He was averaging 8.4, right? And that, yeah, it's pretty crazy. Now, mind you, he did have a really long run that made up for
Yeah,
a lot of
stupid
those.
bitch didn't get a
But
touchdown.
he was
He
doing
didn't get
good.
a touchdown.
He can receive it,
It's like an
he can
idiot.
run it, and you guys still have a good offensive line. Like, you guys can make space. But it's, again, kind of like last year, where it's like, I don't want to run it. I want to do everything else but run it until I have to.
Well-
And it's odd because then once you have to, it's like the other team knows what's going to happen.
well,
You know, like,
I also will say, in this game, right tackle Lane Johnson out because of concussion protocol.
True.
And then halfway through the game, Tyler Steen has to come in for Landon Dickerson, our left guard, like our big left guard, like our really good left guard. PFF probably has him in the top 10. So, like, losing those pieces, that's why I say this game, and like, we know what Tampa Bay is. We know Tampa Bay is a wrecking machine. So people are equating this to the playoff game, which I guess you could because we didn't have A.J. Brown in that playoff game, and they didn't want to fucking keep the coordinators. They didn't want to keep Sirianni. The players didn't want to play for this guy anymore. They didn't want to play for Brian Johnson. They damn sure didn't want to play for Matt Patricia or Sean Desai. They got him the fuck out. We got Kellen Moore. We got Vic Fangio, who's too old to fucking run a defense, by the way. Still running that fucking bend, don't break bullshit. Guess what? If you bend plastic enough, it's just going to stay in the same spot. That's what happens, you dumb fuck. Anyways.
I gotta say, Antonio Brown called out CJ Gardner, I can't remember, CJ Gardner Johnson?
CJ at this point has Will Levis beat for the fucking pictures of the week. Literally, there's a picture every week of him going on his knees. Like, you reach, I teach.
Check this out. He's allowed 4 touchdowns, I think, in the past 2 or 3 games. Right? He's getting absolutely cooked. And so Antonio Brown responded to him saying, "Welcome to CT's fan." And then it showed that CJ Gardner Johnson had blocked him. Like, he blocked Antonio Brown. Like, it's getting to levels where people are memeing on the defense right now. So what's going on?
No, here's the thing. They're utilizing him improperly. It's the same thing when we fleeced the fuck out of you guys and got Nnamdi Asomugha back in 2012.
What are you cursing at?
Nnamdi Asomugha is a brilliant man coverage corner. Shut down. So what did the Eagles do? They went, let's put him in zone.
Yes, sir.
How in the world do you get a guy who led the league? He had the same amount of interceptions as Dak Prescott had touchdowns.
That's insane.
Wow.
That's an insane.
In a season, it's because that was the season where like Dak Prescott had like a shorter season. But it's like,
oh, okay.
But it's like, bruh, through like, I think it was like through 12 weeks or whatever. But it's like, bro, obviously he's not supposed to drop into fucking man coverage. What world do you think he's gonna cover Chris Godwin? Darius Slay is too old to cover Chris Godwin anymore. So you're gonna drop a safety on him? What the fuck do you think? Anyways, I don't want to talk about it anymore. I can get mad about this for 3 hours. All I'm gonna say is I have a message for the fucking Eagles fans out there. If you watch this game and you're going, fire the coach, fire this guy, Jalen Swat, shut the fuck up. The team wasn't there. If AJ was there, Devontae's there, Lane Johnson's there, and this happens still, hey, you know what? Hats off to you. I will get rid of Sirianni. Get rid of Sirianni. That's all I'm gonna say. Fucking march him down Broad Street and where Jason Kelsey gave the Super Bowl speech right there on the Rockies steps. Fucking firing squad his ass. Like, get rid of him. So, but
I do gotta say, Tampa Bay is one of the teams that also is kind of going on the radar of escaping big injuries so far. I'm not trying to cast or curse them, but in terms of like their offense,
it's Hush
they pretty much have a lot of their people. They for the most part have all their people there. Now they have Bucky Irving as their main rusher. They have Rashad White as their main receiving back, but he also of course partakes in the rushing. You know, Godwin's still there. Mike Evans still there. Baker's still healthy. Their left and right tackles still healthy. Like, they're doing good in terms of health side of things, right? Yeah. Same thing could probably be said a little bit about like New Orleans Saints. They're staying relatively healthy, right? However, go ahead. Taysom Hill did just go out.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on with that guy. He probably got hurt, but he did leave the game. So I think that's another injury that was kind of looming. But go ahead, Luis.
Staying on the New Orleans Saints, I actually had this pulled up earlier. Right now, Alvin Kamara has 20 plus touches in every single game this season. Is he a potential sell high target if you have him in fantasy? Obviously, granted, you're biting the bullet of like, I'm gonna sell him and he's gonna get somebody 40 points 1 week. Alvin Kamara, since 2017, has never completed a season. Even last season, you can cut him the slack. Oh, he had to miss the first 4 games. And he technically completed the season with 13 games, but he still missed 4 games. If anything, you could argue he completed his season because he missed
Hubbard, Pacheco, and
I don't even have Alvin Kamara in this league. So are we selling high on Kamara? Because this is a lot of fucking touches for a 29-year-old back who couldn't stay healthy in his early prime.
Question: if McCaffrey was playing and he had the same stat line of 20 touches this year, would you sell him?
No.
Yes.
No, right? I would not sell Kamara. I wouldn't, because right now, like even last year, they were doing comparisons because
but you can't compare the two.
No, I know, not right now because McCaffrey's out.
No, I'm saying you can't. You literally can't compare the two. Christian McCaffrey is coming off of a full fucking season. Alvin Kamara has never finished a full season since 2017. That's 7 years ago.
Luis, relax, bro, relax. I'm saying that in terms of production, efficiency, and all that stuff, Kamara is a really good back, and I don't think anyone would argue that, right? I would keep him until the wheels fall off, is what I'm saying, because you're gonna get those weeks where they will win you the week. He's popped off for 40 points already. He's popped off for 20s, 30s. Yes, you can sell high and look like a genius maybe if he goes out the next week. That's perfectly fine. But you're also going to look like a dumbass if you sell him and he has another 5-6 weeks of phenomenal performance, right? It's kind of like right now for, Rudy. He has Derrick Henry. He's doing amazing. Why would you want to sell a guy that's doing amazing?
But Derrick Henry doesn't have injury history. That's what I'm saying.
True.
We haven't seen Alvin Kamara have this many touches throughout his career. As a 23-year-old, as a 25-year-old. I mean, we're 28. This guy's 34. Yeah. He can tell you from experience. Could you imagine trying to run through a fucking line?
I'm 35.
35. 30 fucking times a game.
I'm old.
You know what I mean? Like, and these are some big boys, and you have already shown you cannot stay healthy. This is literally some of the highest usage he's seen in his entire career at 29.
Would you say that's the reason that they haven't the success that they're having?
I think that's part of it, because you're so scared of him torching the shit out of you. It's opening up the run game, establishing stuff deep. Rashid Shaheed's able to tear defenses apart. Chris Olave can be a true wide receiver 1 that we expected him to be, that he wasn't in like the first week. Because I don't think anybody expected the Saints to be what the Saints have been. Obviously with the exception of the down week against us, for whatever fucking reason now. But I just don't know.
That's valid. It's valid.
Yeah, now with that being said, do you feel
who would you trade for? I think that's where it leads to. Who would you trade for realistically that you could possibly get? And if you can answer that when those players that you're trading for are significantly less injury prone, then it's like, okay, then that makes sense.
I'm looking at like a Brian Robinson Olave.
Yeah, that could work.
Okay.
Yeah.
What Luis is doing is he's trading a running back. I think he's the running back 3 or 4 right now for someone that's
Kamara?
Like Brian Robinson.
1.
Yeah. The thing is I would trade Kamara for Pollard, which I think Pollard is a lesser running back, but not to the point where he's not going to perform. Right now, it's been showing that Alvin Kamara, for the most part, will perform. Might have an off week or two, you know what I mean? But for the most part, he's going to put up some numbers for you. So you're not biting too big of a bullet when you make that trade for him. The only downside to that is you got to be flexible with the second player that you could try to get in mind.
Or
I said Nakua just because of the current status that he's in. They might be more susceptible to trading. You know what I mean? Now, if you're trading away Kamara, I say it's okay to go and take that risk with Nakua because if you're trading away Kamara, you better be goddamn sure that the rest of your roster is pretty fucking solid. I don't know. Robinson eventually having to share that backfield with Eckler, I feel is gonna.
I don't know. I think he's already.
He's shared with him the first 3 weeks, and Eckler's still producing, and Brian Robinson's still producing.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason. And like Eckler's old too. Eckler's injury prone too. Like that's.
Yes, he is.
So I'm
Yeah,
not trusting.
sure.
He already missed a game, whether it was a concussion or whatever. He's already missed a game now. So yeah.
Yeah.
That's an interesting discussion, though. I will say that was a cool one. I like that. RB1, what would you trade for?
Yeah. Well,
I'm glad we were able to catch up on all the games. We went through pretty much a lot of the main ones that happened. I don't think we left out any big ones that I can think of.
The only one that I
let me
did
go
want to
back to
touch
it.
on, but we went on the Alvin Kamara thing too long. It's already a fucking 2-hour episode. I'm probably gonna
Which one?
cut this down to like 3.5. Just real quick, the Ravens and Cowboys Sunday Night Football. The first thing
Ravens and Bills.
Ravens and Bills Sunday Night Football. Very quick. We finally saw the Ravens get out to a big lead and then hold it and not let up defensively. We've seen it twice now where they've, as much as I like to joke about stat pad Scott, the Cowboys did almost put themselves back in that game to the point to where, like, if you're a Ravens fan, you're going, fuck, is this happening again? Because the week before, the week prior, the Raiders came back, won the fucking game in the last second. So, the offense kind of stymied. We didn't see that from the Ravens. The only other thing that I'll bring up is I am shitting my pants if I own anybody that is catching a ball through the air in the Ravens offense, because as a Zay owner in 2 leagues, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, he's approaching early Michael Pittman, Terry McLaurin season, like early season, those guys levels, where it's like the last 2 weeks, he's just not getting targets because they're getting to this big lead and they don't need to throw the ball. It's not even like people are like, oh, fucking Lamar is a running quarterback. Like no, that he literally just doesn't need.
Won on that trade.
He doesn't need to throw the fucking ball. Shirai just went out for the season, so for sure you won. But like,
yeah, Anthony's regretting that. You kind of rubbed that one in his motherfucking face.
No, I'm actually honestly right now I don't really regret many trades. I guess.
Yeah.
Because he gave me Hubbard and Worthy for Zay, and Hubbard's been doing his thing, and Worthy's going to start getting a little increase just because of the injury. But
I mean, that's just fantasy football. But like what I'm saying is just like, because you look at the first 2 weeks, like Zay's getting double-digit targets, high levels of receptions. Like he even dropped like a 22-point game, and all of a sudden you're looking at it, you're like, wait, like he's not even breaking into fuck double digits. He's struggling to break over 6 points. Like, it's insane what we're seeing. And obviously, 2-week sample size, 4-week season sample size. But, like, it's going down, and we're seeing them be a little bit more dominant. If anything, I'm a little more afraid of the fact that they finally pulled it together on defense late in the second half. Because if they keep that up, they're not going to be throwing late in games. So unless you're getting production out of Zay in the first half, you're not going to get production out of him in the second half. For damn sure. Because they're not going to keep throwing the ball.
Pop off for a big run early in the game.
It's, I think, to me, kind of weird because I will say for that game, their defense was just going crazy.
Insane.
Right? They locked down Josh Allen. He couldn't do anything. The offense couldn't get started.
He looked like shit.
They just basically, they fell over and died, right? That was it. And Derrick Henry took over the game. It was just running. They knew they could just pound the rock and they're fine, right? They would just clutch out the game. Random question for you guys. Do you think other teams, after seeing how the Bills went down, right, are going to look at that Raider game to see what the defense did to adapt?
No. I think they're going to look at what the Kansas City defense did.
Okay.
Because the Kansas City defense held Derrick Henry to under 60 yards.
Mm-hmm.
The
what did the Raiders hold them to?
85, I think.
That's
he almost had 100 yards.
Similar, bro.
There's a big difference between 4 yards a carry and 3 yards a carry.
Okay.
One of them gets you a first down, one of them doesn't.
If you're a defensive coordinator or whatever, right? Why wouldn't you look at the Raider game as well?
I mean,
Like, why wouldn't you? You would, right?
I'm looking at all 4 games if I'm a defensive coordinator.
Yeah. But look at the ones where they stopped Derrick Henry, right? Where like they prevented him from going the fuck off, like how he did in the past 2 games.
Hold on, I will say this: your guys' front.
No, I'm not trying to take
four-
away from the Raiders.
No,
They
hold
did
on.
do good that game.
Your guys'
Yeah.
front 4 is a little more well equipped, a little bit better equipped to stop the run than the Cowboys' front 4 and the Bills' front 4. The Bills' front 4 is established to stop the pass, and the Cowboys' front 4 is established to stop the pass. The Raiders' front 4 is a little bit more hybrid. You do have Max Crosby, who can be a fucking game wrecker if you want to sit back in the pocket and try to throw. But if you look at the Chiefs' front 4, they're really established to stop the run, and they've got Chris Jones, and you know they've got pieces that can get into the box and stop and get at the quarterback if he's trying to drop back and pass. So, I mean, really, you're looking at like soft boxes, and of course you've got a fucking 6'3", 247-pound back who can run up to 22 miles an hour. Like, he's gonna fucking torch you for almost 200 every time. So yeah, like I don't think I'm really looking at what they did schematically. I think I'm more just looking at like how they used their pressure in order to. I mean, I'm looking at my fucking defensive, my interior linemen. I'm just like, do you guys want to get embarrassed this week? Like, that's what I'm asking them, real, like, straight up. Do you want to get embarrassed this week? No? All right. Fucking stuff the gaps. You know, like, that's, I mean, really, that's all it is.
I'm playing zone and taking away his receivers, and I'm stacking the box, to be honest with you, when it comes to Baltimore. I'm finding a way to contain the outside, and I'm just going from there. Honest to God, you have to run like a 4-4. It sounds shitty. I mean, unless you have that good of linebackers, you're honestly going to have to run a 4-4 and just use one as a destroyer. Send one at a time in the middle linebacker area that can help cause chaos up the middle and jam it if it needs to happen, while you have the other 3 linebackers just kind of containing the area, making sure it doesn't break past their level. That's the only way to really honestly go about it, and you're just going to have to rely on the athleticism of your defense and being true.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to have to come down to.
Especially
with
what the Chiefs
somebody
did.
like that.
That's what the Chiefs did.
Yeah.
And they won the game.
It's going to be interesting. These next games, now that they see that they're heavily leaning into the run, like how they are, like crazy, it's going to be interesting how the defenses adapt. And I think that's going to be kind of cool to see. Because if they don't adapt, they get ran over. We know that.
Points
All right, so last question before we end the pod. Just your guys' a quick take. Who's winning this next featured matchup game for this coming week? Okay? 2 powerhouse teams. Miami Dolphins, New England Patriots. Who's winning?
Is that seriously?
Yeah, it's a Sunday 1 p.m. Yeah.
Oh,
Who's winning the game? Let's get their final answer.
that's America's game of the
That's
week.
not what I'm trying to watch.
it's a 1
No,
p.m.
fuck that
1
game.
p.m.
Thursday night football. What's this Thursday night football game? I'm not gonna.
Thursday night.
I'm not even gonna
football
entertain
game
that bullshit.
It's
Wait,
the
hold on.
Falcons.
What's Thursday
Bucks
night?
and
What's
Falcons.
Sunday night? And what's Monday night? Let's go like that.
Thursday
What's
night-
Sunday, Monday night?
Thursday night is the Bucks and Falcons. Sunday night, Sunday night is gonna be the Cowboys and Steelers, and then Monday is Saints and Chiefs. So let's start Thursday.
Ooh.
Bucks and Falcons. Who's winning? Real
Bucks
quick,
and
just go
Falcons?
answer.
I have the Bucks.
I'm not gonna lie to you, dude. I'm going Bucks, but
Right.
man, dude,
All
I
3
can't
Bucks.
really. Hold on, I can't sleep on the Falcons though, because
All right, give me a take. Who's
they've been playing
winning?
decent
Who's winning?
football.
I know we're gonna make pick-uns, but on the pod, who's
Is it
winning?
in
Bucks
Atlanta or
Falcons?
is it in Tampa?
Let me see. It's gonna be. Fuck, I don't know. I think this is probably gonna be in Atlanta.
I think it is in Atlanta, huh?
Yeah, I think it's in Atlanta.
I mean,
But who's winning?
I favor the Bucks regardless of where they're playing.
Yeah,
I just
I
think
would
they're.
favor Bucks too.
I just think they're the more complete team. Yeah.
All right, Bucks. You
Uh,
going Bucks or Falcons?
I'm gonna take the fucking Falcons on that one, bro.
Okay. All right, cool.
I'm gonna
And
take the
then
Falcons on
Sunday
that one.
night.
I don't know. I
Sunday
just
night,
feel like
Cowboys Steelers. Sunday night, Cowboys Steelers.
In
At the
Dallas?
Steelers. I'm going Steelers.
In
At the
Dallas?
Steelers. No,
I
it's
think
in
it's in-
Pittsburgh.
It's in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I'm actually gonna
I'm
take the
going.
Steelers.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Steelers. They're
I'm
at
going
home. Dallas is not doing that good. They're
Yeah.
in Steelers, and Steelers. I'm not gonna lie, Pittsburgh is a pretty hard spot to fucking play.
I think if the
they
Giants,
got a good fan base.
I think if the Giants can almost beat the fucking Cowboys at home, I think the Steelers can beat the Cowboys at home.
Yeah, I really.
All right, last one. This one's probably the most interesting. Saints and Chiefs for Monday night.
Ooh,
I'm taking the Chiefs.
Saints.
I'm taking the Chiefs.
You're taking the Chiefs?
I'm taking the fucking Saints.
I'm gonna take the Saints. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. Well, we got through another week. We had a lot of conversation. Definitely.
Yeah.
Probably too much conversation in some
Good
games.
luck, bro.
But it was a good one. There was a lot of stuff that we covered. A lot of interesting games. Probably the most interesting is seeing how dominant Baltimore looked against the Bills.
Yeah.
Right? That was pretty crazy. But in general, we're seeing the rise of Jaden Daniels and also the rise of his receiver, his running back, and similarly, the rise of Andy Dalton with his running back and his receivers. Like, it's pretty cool seeing kind of like two teams that didn't have like a really strong outlook now kind of like looking decent. Now, mind you, Carolina's not doing good. Washington is doing pretty good. Like, they are looking really good.
They still got to play the Cowboys twice.
Say what you want about Carolina, but I mean,
As-
they're kind
as-
of piecing it together.
as well as they're doing,
games.
the Commanders are still going to find a way to lose to the Cowboys twice. It just,
You think so?
yeah, they're going to lose to the Cowboys twice and split with us. It happens every year, no matter.
That would be interesting.
Whether-
if it
I
does.
say Commanders take the Cowboys both times.
Dude,
well, yeah.
I will shake hands with you that that they do not. They'll lose at least one of those games.
Cool. But yeah,
I'll take both.
We're
I'll
seeing
take
a lot
both.
of
I have
injuries. We're
confidence
seeing a
in
lot
that
of
team this
stuff shake up leagues just across the board. But it is cool seeing teams kind of just rise up to the top and also teams kind of just going in the gutter like Jacksonville. So stuff like that it's cool to see. And we'll be covering more next week as time goes on, and hopefully we can get you guys some new news along the way and people that you should either be panic metering on or trying to new news.
I think
if
the
you're either
Commanders are
panic
taking the
metering on,
division.
or trying to figure out who to trade for, all that stuff. But yeah, there's a lot of good games. And just to let you guys know, Patriots will probably be making the playoffs. Anyways, I'll see you
Just to
guys
let
next
you
time,
know.
and
Just to let
we'll
you
catch
know.
up later.
Yeah,
I think the
Raiders.
Commanders are taking the division.
Nobody wins it twice, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Bro, they got Tom Brady back in Patriots, bro. Shit.